Life is perfect today. I wouldn't want to spend it any other way.
And this here is our blue tail skink. Not to be confused with snake. It's not a snake. She was wild caught, so she is easily excitable. I'm going to try to remove the lid and maybe see if I can get a better shot of her for you guys. Here she is. And here's one of our other ones. This is your standard North American leopard frog. Wow, he looks weird sitting in that corner like that. So of all people, my mother caught this frog. Literally, I can imagine her bouncing around her backyard, chasing after this guy. They're difficult to catch. They're very aquatic animals. They make the chirping sound when you disturb them. They're the quick chirping sound right before you hear a little splash into the water. He is also wild caught and easily excitable. There he is. There he is again. Maybe I can catch him. There he is again, sitting next to his little waterfall rock. He loves sitting over there. He doesn't usually get on top of it, because it's a good heating lamp. The skink, however, loves to sit on top of the rock. Loves to sit on our little log here. And the skink, when I get the lid back on here, sometimes the skink will actually get, climb upside down on the lid, so that way she can get next to the heating lamp and feel it on her underbelly. She absolutely loves that. So here's our wild-caught blue tail. She is very easily excitable. Don't know how long she's just going to sit comfortably on my arm before she decides to dash. We took the leaves out so you guys could see things a little better. The cage in desperate need of a cleaning. You can see she's pooped all over her sun lamp. Here, let me see if I can catch her. She may bite me, but she doesn't hurt. It's okay, it's okay. You're fine. Alright, she's going to be flicking her tail around a ton. Oh, yes, I know. Super upset. Flicking her tail around a ton to try to distract us, to get us to bite that. Like I said, she is easily excitable. There she goes flicking it, you see? She's trying to distract us, make us think that's more tasty than she is. Of course, we have no intention of eating her. She's just wild caught. So she probably won't ever really truly get used to being handled. Now if I get maybe a mate for her, her little babies, her hatchlings, can pretty easily be tamed. As long as they're around humans their entire life, they're not a big deal. Now let's see what else about her. Like I said, she's probably going to threaten or actually bite me, which again doesn't hurt. She has tiny teeth, but she's small enough and doesn't have a powerful enough jaw to do any actual damage to our skin, as is the case with most lizards her size. Yes, I know, so mean. No love. I'll give her a cricket in a moment. Their diet is mostly small insects. She'll get a little bigger than that, and they can regrow their tails like most other Anole type lizards can. She and the bullfrog, or the leopard frog rather, have gotten used to each other's company. Yeah, nope. She and the leopard frog have gotten used to each other's company, so they don't disturb each other very much at all. They are perfectly cool with each other. There you go, girl. Don't go jumping. I'm gonna get a cricket in there. See if she'll go after it. We keep our crickets right down here. Let's see. Oop, she tried, didn't she?
Yes, she did.
Chances are she will never be calm, cool, or collective. You get it? Mm-hmm. She got herself a cricket. Good job, girl. We feed her 2, or at least give her the opportunity to eat 2 or 3 crickets a day. She traditionally does not eat that much, but whatever she doesn't eat, the leopard frog absolutely enjoys. Oh, I never finished explaining the reason why we rescued her. But she caught herself on multiple occasions. We had a pitcher, a little plastic pitcher sitting outside the door. I forgot what we were doing with that pitcher. I think we were using it to water plants.
Water plants.
And for some weird reason, she kept climbing the wall and jumping into it. And then she couldn't get out. I got that too.
You better give the frog one, because I think he's looking at her eating the cricket.
Okay. I'll toss a few more in there for him.
Oh yes, he sees.
So now you're staring at the frog, which, as I said, my mom captured him when she was running the mower across the lawn. He decided he'd just jump out of the grass, and so she chased him around so she didn't actually hit him, and then brought him over here and told us to take care of him. And that's how we got the leopard frog. So you're staring at the frog now, trying to finish explaining the skink story. The skink kept getting itself caught, or catching itself, so to speak, jumping into a plastic pitcher that we left out on our porch for some unexplained reason. And then the very first time, we hadn't noticed her for a couple of days, because, you know, we didn't water every day. Wouldn't need to. It would rain sometimes. But, so we took her out and we released her. And after about the second, it must have been the third time that she caught herself, we decided, you know what? She obviously just prefers captivity. So we brought her in. And she's, of course, wild caught. She obviously doesn't really prefer captivity, but she kept catching herself in the pitcher. We even tried changing it the third time to another plastic container, but she ended up getting herself caught in that and then couldn't get out. So we brought her in, and she gets along fine with the frog. She gets plenty of free crickets and enjoys it. Did you catch him getting one?
No, he hasn't gotten any yet.
There she is, hiding under the water. He's puffering up, becoming all big and bulgy. You can see him sucking in all that air, because that's one of the frog's defense mechanisms against snakes. If they puff up really big and it's a small snake, the snake then can't separate its jaw wide enough to swallow the frog. So the frog often gets away in that particular circumstance. Now, these leopard frogs sometimes are ticklish. Kermit the Frog here. I'm not squeezing him at all. He's just ticklish on his underbelly and his side bellies. Oh, I know it. He's singing for us. You should hear when we play some music. Oftentimes, and I'm sure I'll catch that at some point or another, he will start croaking along with the music, just singing for all of us to hear. There he goes again. The frog doesn't much care for the landing too much, but he'll hide under it. This is mostly for the skink, that landing right there, because while they are good swimmers, and while they tolerate water just fine, they're not a primarily aquatic reptile. We're resituating their leaf patch. Artificial leaves. We've got some live vegetation in there as well. You guys saw it in the corner over there. That's live vegetation. Here, I can show it through the glass. They've got some more in there. But it's just so hard keeping enough live vegetation that's perfectly aquatic without making a big algae mess. So there's your artificial leaves that the frog likes to hide in, and the skink will hide under as well. We're going to put the lid back on them, and we'll move to the next area of the critter corner. You guys saw the leopard geckos in an earlier video. They know this sound to be a time for the net coming off and crickets coming in. Originally, this is a little makeshift net we made from a screen and a bunch of the, what are those, paper clips, I guess?
Yeah.
Some kind of paper clip, I forget what you call them. But this is a makeshift screen because Mello our female fancy leopard gecko decided to keep crawling up on top of our actual wood. What would you call that? Sanded, non-splinter driftwood or something or other?
Yeah.
But she kept crawling up on the wood and actually jumping out to the corners of the cage. And she got out a couple of times. So we had to get a net for this cage as well. So we will move this back for now. This here is our boy Feisty. Man, he's grown so much. He is a very feisty leopard gecko. I know. That's why we named him Feisty.
We should put one of his pictures on Instagram.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll put a picture of Feisty on Instagram. Now, they are fed crickets, and you can hear them going crazy in the background. It's crickets, that is. They're fed crickets on a daily basis. I'm going to scooch them over here to where there's a little more light. We can show them off. So, these guys are such a fancy critter. They have beautiful eyes, very much like an alligator or a crocodile eyes. They do not prefer their jaw rubbed very much, or they'll threaten to bite. They just got done shedding. As you guys saw a few days ago, Mellow was shedding in the middle of our parody of Frozen Let It Grow, or Frozen Let It Go, the Let It Grow parody. You guys will get to see these guys eat in just a minute, but I want to take them out and handle them a little bit. After eating, it's not so great to handle them because then they're digesting. These guys are nocturnal. They're very quiet, very easy to have as pets. And here's how you sex them, in case you ever wanted to know. That sounds so wrong, but how to determine the sex of these critters. So the male, as with most reptiles, they actually have two penises. There's the lumps, you can see them right there, of penis number 1 and 2. I know that's fun to talk about. We've got all the little people laughing at home, I'm sure, and we're violating poor Feisty here. The males also have a very pronounced V shape above their penises. I don't know if you can see it real well. The reason why most reptiles, especially snakes, have two penises is because oftentimes when the girl decides that she's had enough, she will literally just tear herself away from the male mid-mating session and run off, sometimes taking a penis with her. Fun, right? So reptiles have adjusted in the way that they have two for just such circumstances. Alright, Feisty's had enough. You'll get to see him have a snacky poo in a moment. He has gotten big. So, Feisty is who you just saw a minute ago. That is a standard leopard gecko. This is Mellow. She's got gorgeous eyes, doesn't she? Again, feels like an episode of Snake Bites. Little crocodile tears. She's such a pretty little fancy gecko. Fancy leopard gecko. Can you see the eyes okay?
Yeah, you already got them.
Okay, good. So Mellow, unlike Feisty, was very calm when we got her, which is why we named her Mellow. One of the ways you can tell the difference is their coloring and their shape and their design. That's how you tell the difference between a fancy and a standard leopard gecko. In addition to the tail. The fancy leopard gecko often has a bulb-shaped tail. And both of these types of geckos can lose their tail. But unlike with anoles and skinks, it's not healthy for them to lose their tail, because this is where their fat is stored, which is why you see she's got a big old round tail instead of a slender tail like most other reptiles. So this is where she stores her fat. She doesn't like me playing with it. While they move their tail exactly opposite, as in an exact opposite direction of their head. So when they're moving, you can't really see it well in my hands, but when they're moving, their head and their tail are exact opposites. So that way, oftentimes creatures chasing and striking at them can't tell which is their head. Watch her tail as she moves. Okay, I'm gonna go grab her. She just got done shedding a few days ago. They're very beautiful animals, and they're great as great for beginners or early intermediate owners. Of course, me, I like all kinds of critters. taking care of just about all kinds, including snakes. Sexing your female leopard gecko. You will notice that she does not have the two bulbs, the two lumps, I guess you could say, because she doesn't have two penises. In addition, you'll notice if you can see the V in her legs, it is far less pronounced than the V in a male's region. We'll just use that word. Anyway, here she is, smiling for everybody to see. She actually likes the attention pretty well. But they're about to get a snack, so we'll let you guys see those snacks here in just a moment. Now, it's important to feed leopard geckos daily. They're one of the reptiles that actually, while they're growing, will eat daily. And then after they're fully grown, they'll eat still 2 to 3 times a week, as long as you feed them proportionately. We just spritzed their container, and now it's snack time. Yeah. Look at her go. Alright, let's put another one in there. Oh, you got it good, girl. Good stuff, huh? Nom nom noms. Where's Feisty? There's Feisty over there. Maybe I can toss 1 or 2 his way. You checking Feisty? He's hunting down his right now. Oh, he got it. So Feisty just finished growing up not long ago. He's about full size now, they both are now. But he has literally just finished his growth spurt, and Mellow's chasing herself one into where the moisture den used to be. Here's a few more for you guys. We're still feeding them each about 3 to 6 crickets a day. That's just what they tend to enjoy without overeating. It keeps them a nice little reserve. Every few days I'll still calcium spritz or calcium powder the crickets, because it's very important that they get an adequate source of calcium. Next time one of them sheds, I will show you guys. We haven't had this issue yet, but you don't really help them shed. You let them do it on their own, and if they have a little trouble, because sometimes they do, especially in their eyes, they'll get a little bit of shedding stuck and have trouble getting it off. That's why you give them a moisture den, or you spritz them, because that'll usually help them to rub the excess skin off. Otherwise, I can show you next time if we have one shedding that has trouble, show you how to properly remove the excess skin without hurting them. But anyway, metal in a microwave makes kabooms. Just for those of you.
Best thing to do is just turn this guy over to him. And they did, and the Indians took him.